Ladies and gentlemen, it gives us great pleasure tonight to have our first speaker of the evening, Miss Sha-en. Sha-en is a best-selling author and recent TEDx speaker. She has been featured on TV, Business Times, and Money 89.3 FM. As the founder of Happiness Scientists, Sha-en has trained more than 10,000 people in the research and practice of positive psychology. Let us give a warmest round of applause to welcome Miss Sha-en on stage.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Evening. I am very determined to enjoy my speech tonight since Prof says we should. So I want to start. Let me just put down my little props. So if I came up to you and shared with you a piece of good news, how would you react? I see smiles, I see. So if I came up to you and said to you, I got promoted, yay! And my response, or the response that you had to me was, you got promoted, don't you know that you're going to be spending more hours and more time at the workplace? And do you know in Singapore, the reward for good work is more work? Would you share with that person that good news anymore? Probably not. So in the research, Prof. Shelley Gables calls this discouraging response. Let's try another one. So same thing, yay, I got promoted. And my spouse replies to me, what's for dinner tonight? Totally ignoring what I said. Totally not focused on me, just focusing on what he wants for dinner. This is what we call a dismissive response. Sometimes we do it and we don't even realize that we are doing that. Let's try round number 3. Yay, I got promoted. And my cousin replies to me, oh, that's nice. Congrats. Deadpan face. And you wonder whether he really means it. This is what we call the agreeable response. But somehow the face doesn't seem to really agree with you, although the words say, that's nice. The fourth response goes something like this. Yay, I got promoted. And my friend says to me, wow, congratulations. I know you've been wanting to have this promotion for the longest time. How about let's go out for dinner and celebrate and you can tell me more. I don't know about you, but I would love to go for that dinner. It is what we call an elevating response. An elevating response. Now, in her research, Dr. Shelley Gables says that in order to strengthen a relationship, we should be responding to the people in our lives with an elevating response. In other words, communicate in order to elevate. And she has found that people who use an elevating response have stronger relationships than those who use dismissive or ignoring responses. I know this firsthand because back in my secondary days, I encountered 2 different teachers with 2 different responses. My first encounter with my Chinese teacher was when I received back my results of my test paper. I didn't do very well. And she called me outside of class, and I thought, I'm doomed. She put on her eyeglasses. These are my kids, by the way. Balanced on her nose. As if with those magic eyeglasses, she could see into my house and realize that this was a girl who was a Peranakan, who spoke little to no Chinese at home. I had very few Chinese books at home, only the textbooks that were given to me by the school. And my only Chinese entertainment was watching Zoe Tay as Bobo, and Chen Xiuhuan and Chen Liping playing volleyball in the Chinese 8 drama serial all those years ago. And my father, a Baba man, can only say 1, 2, 3, 4 in Chinese. And just as I'm lost in the thoughts of all the things I could not do with my Chinese, she calls me back into reality. Yang Sha-en! do you know you have done very badly? Do you speak any Chinese at home? Just as I'm about to shake my head, she continues. And she says, I'm going to say it in Chinese. 你看,你的华语真差劲. She says to me, your Chinese is really terrible, and that result can only mean one thing. If you don't get 70 marks upon 100 for your higher Chinese, at the end of the year, you are going to be put on probation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what would you do if you were me? I thought maybe I should go and study harder, right? That's what everybody says. But I wouldn't know what I don't know anyway, and nobody at home really can help me with my Chinese. My mom did speak some Chinese, but she only spoke it when she didn't want my dad to know what was going on between us, our secret code. I thought maybe I should just give up. After all, I got a legit excuse. I'm Peranakan girl, ma. I don't speak Chinese at home, so even if I fail my Chinese, it's okay. It's forgivable. How many of you would choose to study harder? Hands up. Right? How many of you would choose to, forget it, just give up, take the easy route? And the rest of you? Frozen in space because my teacher is so fierce. Actually, that's how I felt right in the moment. But I decided on route number 1. I studied very hard. I memorized all the 成语, the idioms, all the 俗语, from 4 letters to 8 letters. I memorized them all. I even went to the dictionary and memorized all the sentence construction, the 造句, so that I could regurgitate it out during the exam. And guess what? At the end of the year, I got 69 upon 100. I was very happy. However, she came to me and she said, Yang Sha-en, you are 1 mark short of 70. That means you still need to be on probation. The following year, we had to take Chinese at a second language. And on the day that I went to receive my results, her face was black and sour. I thought, oh God, where am I going to put my face? I must have done really badly. But when I pried open the envelope, to my surprise, I had gotten a B3. Wow, Peranakan girl can get B3. I was happy. But she said to me, this is as good as you will ever get. You should drop higher Chinese for next year. Now, I don't know whether I was because rebellious and I just wanted to prove her wrong that I foolishly went ahead to take higher Chinese even though I knew nothing of how to study. I took it and I ended up getting a C5. I passed. But I don't even want to begin to describe to you the look on her face, because that was the only C in her entire cohort of A's. Now you may be thinking, what kind of school is this to have teachers like this? And are there any nice teachers in the school at all? And the truth is, there was. My math teacher in secondary 3 was one of those. You see, my math test results were also really bad, probably worse than my Chinese. And when I received the test result, there I was again, feeling nervous. Is she going to say to me the same things that my Chinese teacher had said? I was terrified. Instead, she said, Sha-en, it's okay. It's just your first result. And by the way, A-Maths is a very difficult subject. You can only get better from here. I was so encouraged. She even offered to tutor me for extra lessons so that she could help me with my mathematics. And when I stayed back for those math lessons, she wasn't staring down at me. Instead, she sat next to me, S equals, leaning in and saying to me, it's okay, just keep going. In fact, there was once I muttered under my breath, I'm I'm just not good at math. I'm going to give up. But she looked at me lovingly and she said, you feel like giving up now, and you may not be able to do it well now, but who knows? You may be able to do it in the future. When she noticed that I was having friendship problems, I had friends whom I thought were my friends, but end up being bullies. And I was looking down one day. She didn't let me give up on myself. Instead, she dropped me a note. And on the note, she said, Dear Sha-en, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. She told me I have a choice about who I want to be. I found the courage to walk away from that set of friends, made some new friends, and at the end of Sec 4 for my O-levels, I got A1 for math. If I look back at the tale of both these teachers, it's obvious to see that in the first example, the dismissive example, I remained stagnant at that level of 70 marks upon 100, having no love for the subject anymore and not really wanting to see her again, compared to the second teacher whom I really enjoyed staying in touch with. You see, if we want to bring our relationships from level 1, where we are now, to level 2, the next level, I believe we need to begin with an intention. An intention to see the good in someone else, the intention to be able to see the strengths in a person and not just the weaknesses. An intention that with every communication and conversation that you have with the person, you will leave them better than they were before. After the intention, next comes the words. Words that uplift and encourage. Words that empower and maybe even enlighten. Words that enable them to do more than they thought that they could. And then next, after saying the words, comes the actions. We have to take actions that are in alignment with what our intentions are and what our words say. Actions that are uplifting as well, such as maybe pausing to think before you speak, lest you say something that you regret. Listening non-judgmentally, giving benefit of the doubt when you can. If we can do all these three things, I believe we can take our communication and our relationships to the next level. Recently, I had my secondary school's 20th anniversary reunion. And guess who I was so excited to meet? My math teacher. She asked me, Sha-en, what are you doing nowadays? And I shared with her, I'm sharing positive psychology and happiness with people, individuals and organizations so that they can flourish. And she turned to me and said, wow, I'm so proud of you. I wish that in that moment, I could have also told her, thank you for changing the way I think about myself. In psychology, there is a term called elevation. Elevation refers to a warm and uplifting feeling, the same kind of fuzzy feeling that I get whenever I think about my math teacher. A warm, uplifting feeling that anyone gets when they're observing or experiencing somebody who has done an act of kindness, compassion, courage beyond what they would normally do. Their act inspires others to be better, inspires others to help others more. Jonathan Haidt, the social psychologist, believes that elevation is something that we can all experience as a human being, even as a group. So, ladies and gentlemen, I truly believe that all of us can be better. All of us can help others. So I have a little challenge for you, if you will. What if tonight, or maybe tomorrow, you could use your words and your communication to uplift and elevate your spouse, your children, your co-workers, people in the community? What if you could use your words and your communication to take just one person to the next level? Perhaps then we can have flourishing, positive relationships with the people in our lives, where we will uplift and encourage more than we complain and dismiss, where we will have kinder connections with others rather than transactional interactions with people. Perhaps then we can all look forward to having a stronger relationship as a result of our positive communication. Thank you very much.